Will geoengineering protect the Earth from further damage, or will it cause a state of paralysis for the Earth's environment? Geoengineering is a deliberate and man-made intervention on the Earth's climate. Its purpose is to reverse the detrimental effects of global warming that global citizens have contributed to for centuries. There are two main geoengineering theoretical approaches to reducing some of the impacts of climate change: greenhouse gas removal and solar radiation management. Greenhouse gas removal is the approach of removing greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. Its main appeal is its ability to capture and effectively remove the ever-increasing CO2 from the atmosphere. Greenhouse gas removal is the approach of removing greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. Its main appeal is its ability to capture and effectively remove the ever-increasing CO2 from the atmosphere. A similar geoengineering technique is carbon capture and storage. It captures CO2 before entering the atmosphere from fossil fuel plants and transports it to an underground storage site where it can be disposed of. With its aim to prevent the release of large quantities of CO2 in the atmosphere, it ultimately protects the environment from further damage. This approach was even backed by the 2014 Paris Agreement, as it provided a strategy to produce a low, short-term emissions beyond the current strategies presented. However, the element of storing CO2 underground is a relatively new concept, with little to no research on the environmental effects. It could cause the Earth more environmental problems and push it to a state of paralysis. The other main geoengineering idea is solar radiation management. Its approach is to reflect a small amount of inbound sunlight back out into space, which would indirectly reduce concentrations of greenhouse gases, aid in the regeneration of the ozone layer, and stop the rise of global temperatures. Ultimately, solar radiation management could protect the Earth from further damages of greenhouse gases, whilst the Earth transitions to greener energies. However, there are too many uncertainties surrounding solar radiation management approach. Geoengineering is an interesting prospect with both confusing and complex techniques. It raises many questions and is difficult to fully comprehend in terms of its potential effects on the Earth. If it were to go ahead, it would affect everyone in some capacity and involve large-scale human intervention like we have never seen before. The potential of geoengineering has yet to be seriously considered, and with all the uncertainties of available technology, we have no idea what the ecological side effects could potentially be. However, with the Earth in such a dire need for climate change intervention, shouldn't we at least try? Poor implementation may be worse than doing nothing, but overall, the negative consequences of climate change could be even worse from the Earth. It's unfortunate that the current legal framework concerned with geoengineering is fragmented and in need of reform. It is a very difficult task due to the large number of social and ethical concerns that need to be balanced. There is a huge amount of risk related to geoengineering approaches. It reduces the impacts of climate change, but it also prompts questions of the ways in which we live in the world, ways in which we could live a lot cleaner, a lot greener, and stay away from fossil fuels and damaging the environment. We could invest in renewables, ultimately switch to solar power or wind power for our homes. We could stop using plastic bags in the supermarket. We could switch to bikes as our main transportation, plant more trees, forego heating and cooling systems. We could reduce our waste outputs and switch to a green diet. Ultimately, as a society, we need to enforce emissions reductions targets for not only our local community, but worldwide, as we are taxing polluters and damage the environment severely. We all need this planet for our future, so we should hold it to a higher value than we have in the past. There is no clear answer as to whether geoengineering will protect the Earth from further damage. However, it creates a sense of urgency in our responsibility and commitment to take action as engaged actors in international climate politics. Nations are falling short on their commitments for greenhouse gas emission reductions, which pushes the need for more community action and individual action that can achieve these reductions on a daily scale. Reductions need to happen, especially if there is going to be a tomorrow. Time will tell if these reductions come from geoengineering or sustainable practices.